I'm hot, right? Welcome to Facebook and welcome to the YouTube. This is the Home Spiritual Center Sunday service. And I'm going to jump right into our opening prayer. No, I'm not. I have to change the glasses first. All right, here we go. I thank God for another beautiful Sunday morning. The love and presence of our spiritual family is all around us this morning. Like a gentle breeze in the early morning when you are alone and no one is near. You can sense the early morning dew forming on the plants. You can feel the birds stirring, preparing to search for their morning menu of available insects. This is all God's love, and wish it for us to live in peace and joy. These are spiritual energies in motion. We pray the world will knowingly receive these energies today. We are all spirit, and spirit is the most beautiful and perfect expression of God. That's why we are so radiant with love and light and blessed by these very same energies, that we may freely give so that all will receive and in turn give themselves. God is, I am, and we are all the love and light of God, filled with the spiritual peace and calm of our Creator. In gratitude and thankfulness for this beautiful day we have been so blessed with in our love and light, amen. And now I turn the podium over to Reverend Madge.
So, abundance and prosperity is the topic today. And I found that the hardest part of this topic was learning how to spell prosperity correctly. Man, I think if spell check had an attitude, it would be rolling its eyes at me. How long is it going to take you to get that right? Oh, man. So anyway, who doesn't love prosperity and abundance, right? We all love it. We all need it. And we love what money can do for us. Lord knows, in our system, it's essential. Money is essential in our current system as we know it today. However, it's not just all about money. It's also about getting our needs met. So last Thursday, I was thinking about how I needed some cucumbers so I could make pickles. We're all completely out of bread and butter pickles, and I like making pickles. So I thought I just kind of sent this message out. Hey, I need some cucumbers. Where am I going to get cucumbers? Might have to go over and buy them at Easy Orchard or something. And then the next day, Lee messages me. She says, hey, I've got a bunch of cucumbers. Do you need some? I was like, yes, I do. And so I picked them up. On Friday evening, and they were the perfect size, the perfect amount for 8 jars of pickles. It's like, wow, I didn't even know that would be so perfect. I just thought that my heart was just so full of appreciation. I got my need met. I just kind of sent it out. Hey, I need cucumbers. And there they were the next day. And there's lots and lots of wonderful examples, of course, that come to mind. But one of them that came to mind when I was thinking about this message was when I was a single mom, and I had just switched jobs from working as a waitress to working at the hospital. And I took a huge pay cut because I didn't get tips anymore, and I did very well in tips. So it was like, man, this is painful. Well, I needed a vacuum, and I didn't have any money to buy a vacuum. And so I sent the message out. It's like, I need a vacuum. I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't pick all these little bits up off the carpet myself. Well, I had these customers that I'd had for years at the restaurant named Otto and Fanny. And they got to where they were coming twice a day. And I worked the split shift, so I worked lunch and dinner. So I had them twice a day very often because Fanny was no longer able to cook. So they'd come down and I'd feed them lunch and dinner every day. Well, then when I switched jobs, I didn't get to see them anymore, but I stayed in touch with them. And then Fanny passed away, and I went to their estate sale, and of course Otto let me. He said, "Just take anything you want. It doesn't matter. Just take it." Well, one of the things they had was a vacuum, and I got this old Kirby vacuum that still worked like a charm. So I got it for free. He wouldn't let me pay him for it. I was willing to pay something, but no, you take it. Wow, that is so great. And I just felt so blessed to have that. Another example that came to mind, which does include money, was a story I grew up hearing from my dad. He was an inventor and a builder. And in the early 60s, I was pretty little, my folks couldn't afford to buy a house. So my dad decided to build a trailer like a good Aquarius person would. They're out of the box thinkers. And they don't do things the usual way. They always do things the odd way. Right, Art? Isn't that the typical classic sign of Aquarius? Do we have any Aquarians in here? And you do things differently, right? It's like, that's normal. That's not me. I'm doing it this way. Yeah, it's perfect. Well, my dad was that way too. I mean, even on our homestead, we didn't have ducks that quacked. We had Muscovy ducks that go. We had pencil runner ducks too, not just the ordinary ones. They ran like a pencil. We had donkeys, didn't have horses. We had goats instead of cows. Had chickens that laid colored eggs. Anything unusual was on our farm. Yeah. So anyway, he decided to build a trailer for us to live in. And so being an inventor, he built the very first expanding trailer. And they didn't have such thing in the early 60s, the trailer that expanded. So his design was to have, the regular 8-foot wide trailer, which is the standard width, and then 4 more feet on each side. And so it gave, double the square footage. Well, but at that time, they didn't have the hydraulics like they have now. So his design was to drop down so it'd be roadworthy. So these 4 feet on the edges would drop down and you could pull it on the road. Not that it ever got pulled, but that was theoretically capable of it. Well, the drop downs required these really special hinges that went the length of the trailer, which was a very big special order. Well, at that time, they had what they called COD, cash on delivery. They can't even conceive of, the young ones can't even conceive of such thing. But at that time, they didn't have debit cards, hadn't even been thought of yet. Credit cards, not everybody had credit cards and not everybody had checks. You just did cash. You cashed your check and you had your money and you paid your bills. So anyway, it was cash on delivery for those kinds of things. And the morning that those hinges were supposed to be delivered, he didn't have the money for it. And he was just sick to his stomach and he was just praying and praying and praying. Well, the mailman came about 11 in the morning, and in the mail was a letter from a dear friend of his. And he opened up the letter and it said, "I have this feeling you need some extra money." And in it was this amount of money that was the exact amount he needed to pay for the hinges when they arrived 30 minutes later. Isn't that amazing? And he just sat and cried. He was so grateful. He was so filled with gratitude and the perfect synchronicity of God, the universe, spirit, taking care of his every need in just the right time. Couldn't come early to give his mind relief, of course. It couldn't be stress-free, but it arrived and it came and everything was taken care of. And it just he felt, like God is so perfect. I remember him talking about that. He told that story for years. It moved him so much. So spirit even helps us in the littlest of ways, just in the smallest tasks that seem meaningless. So this week I've been noticing for a while that my little paring knife is missing out of my knife block. It's like, well, where is it? Maybe it'll turn up. It didn't turn up. So anyway, I've been noticing this for a while. So I asked Rachel, my daughter, the other day, I said, have you seen that little paring knife? And she said, no, I don't know. Well, we both kind of just moved on, didn't think about it anymore. Well, shortly later, just within 30 minutes or so, she got thinking about the car out front. And we didn't even think another thought about the knife. She got thinking about the car out front, and she's thinking, man, it's really hot. I think I'll go open up the windows so it's not so hot in the car. So when she got the key to the car, she saw the manual to owner's manual there, and she thought, well, I'll take this and put it in the glove box. So she picked it up, went out to the car, rolled the windows down, opened the glove box to put the manual in, and she noticed these CDs. Her attention was drawn to these CDs she had in there. She goes, wonder what I have in here. So she's looking through them. As she's looking through the CDs, she sees a plastic bag in the bottom of the glove box. So she thinks, I wonder what that is. So she picked up the plastic bag, and there was the knife in it that we were looking for. And she came back in. She said, look. And what we realized is we had put the thought out there. You know, I had thought of the knife, asked about the knife. We talked about the knife. She thought about the knife. I saw it in my mind. She saw it in her mind. And so we set this vibrational pattern out for this knife. And within a few minutes, without realizing it, she followed the thread. She followed the vibrational frequency that took her to the knife. You know, that's how it works. It works that way. When you think of it and you set it in motion and you visualize it, you follow the thread of either you could call it serendipity, but you're actually following the vibrational frequency. You're chuckling. You must have had a similar experience. Yeah. And Rachel and I were talking about how easy that is on the small things. It's real easy to follow that thread on the small things. But what if you have something big at stake? Then we get all caught up in self-doubt. Oh, what if I'm not doing it? What if what? And then we question and we hold ourselves back. What if it's a mistake? So anyway, so it was pretty fun to think about that, about even the smallest of things. And it's not necessarily spirit, but it's us being in vibrational harmony with something that leads us to it. You know, thinking of the key, the car and the key and the manual and the seat, following that thread of what her attention was drawn to. And then poof, there was the knife 30 minutes later back in the holder. Been missing for weeks, months actually, but it's only weeks since I've been thinking about it. So I want to do something different. I want to change it up a little bit. I want to do a little bit of a game, a little money game. I have real money. I cleaned out the piggy bank. Kidding. So I'd like to have two people come up. One of them is Sally. Would you come up, Sally? And how about Tatiana? I know. I know. Don't look. Keep your head down. Don't look at me. All right. So come on up. Do we need to get scooted over a little further? All right. So, so Sally, I want to give you $5. And you have a choice. You take the $5. No, you take it. And then I'll ask you the question. Yeah. So take the $5. And now you have the question. Would you give the $5 to Tatiana or do you want to keep it? I'll give it to Tatiana. No, you got to keep it because of my demonstration. You got to keep it. Yeah, wrong answer. You got to keep it. I know we have such giving people, it's hard. Okay, you got to keep it. Because you would have kept it? All right, here. There you go. Are you going to give it to her or are you going to keep it?
No, we just went through a lot, so it's okay. We can stop there.
Okay. But just for playing the game, I want to give you a $5 bill. Because the universe always levels off. It always finds its level. She's questioning. Don't worry about it. It's all good. So you guys, so that's the end of the game because now it's level. Everybody has an even score in the world of needs. So you get to keep the $5 for good. Yeah, for real. Thank you for playing.
Yeah.
Thank you for playing. All right. Now I want two more people. I want Angel and Shelby. Oh. All right. So, Angel, I'm going to give you $5. And do you want to give it to Shelby or do you want to keep it? Okay. This time it's okay.
What if I don't want to take it?
You have to take it because it's part of my demo. That's all. Okay. So, Shelby, just because the universe is so abundant, they want to give you $10. So
They want to give it to Angel instead.
you want to give it to you, but then you get to make a decision.
Okay.
All right. So now your decision is, now you have $10 and Angel has none. Do you want to share it with him? Now he has 10 and you have 5.
Okay.
Do you want to level it, or do you want to give it all? Oh, now what do you want to do?
Even it out.
Okay.
It's 50-50.
I need it.
Well then we'll go like that.
There you go. See? You trusted. You guys you developed trust with each other, right? That you were going to get something for something. So you shared it and it still leveled out, right? That's the way universe works. So you get to keep it. That's your money. That's your abundance for playing.
Think about it.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Right?
We need to do this every week, right? So this game actually was created as a study on the brain, the marriage of brain and science and economics. And the researchers found that this exercise activates 2 parts of the brain. One part of the brain involves delayed gratification. You give it away, you don't have anything, but you have a trust in the universe, knowing that that things always come around and they always level out. The other part is trying to figure out what the other person's thinking. What are they going to do? Are they going to give it to me or not? Well, if they do, now what do I do? What's my part in this? So it involves the emotion of trust. You give it away, trusting the other person will share, or trusting that the universe will come back and you'll get your fair share. So the second group displayed gratitude for trust in the sharing. So, oh yeah, I preempted Sally to keep it, but then she didn't. To say no and giving it away. I had to have the right demo, but yeah, I just wanted to say. We got all confused, but anyway, I promised her I wouldn't embarrass her because we're such a giving group, and I just remembered I was gonna protect her that way and not embarrassing her. Anyway, so interestingly, reciprocity, which is falls under social psychology and not under the laws of spirituality. I thought that was very interesting. It's a social psychological exercise. It's not a law of spirituality because it's a response to an action of like kind. And so that's a social agreement. It's a trust in our society. It's a faith in each other. So meaning that you will give this or I'll give this because you'll give me something back. And it's sacred. It's a sacred agreement that we have in our society. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a beautiful thing to have that kind of trust in each other. And that's what organizations do. That's what we do with our money. That's the whole barter system is based on, I give you this, or I put this out there and then I get this back. And that's reciprocity. And it's a very good practice. While reciprocity has its place and a purposeful function, it's important to remember that it is a social event and not a spiritual act. In our spiritual practice, we might help someone that's in need by giving them something that they need, but the positive vibration will most likely not come from them. It will, we just give them because they need it. And we walk away. We don't think another thing of it. And whereas if we're operating out of reciprocity, we will give something to somebody, and if they don't give something back, even an expression of gratitude, we're like, that's not our social agreement. I'm offended. They weren't even grateful. I'm not doing that again. But that's okay. That's our social agreement. It's not the spiritual practice, and it's natural. But it's kind of hard to deal with when somebody isn't grateful for something that we do and give them a deed. So if we're from our spirit, if we're operating from our spirit and from an unconditional heart, we don't need to have their positive response, because that's not where we're seeking the agreement from. What matters is we put out into the universe a positive deed, and then we walk away without needing to get something positive back. And it will come back to you in probably the most unexpected form, from the most unexpected person or thing or event, in a way that we don't even recognize that which we put into motion earlier in our life has now come back to us in this form. We don't even make that association. So an example might be, you might give somebody a tool for something that they need for a project. And you just give them the tool and walk away. And then down the road, you might need to get your sink fixed. And somebody will know somebody that will give you a really affordable price for a really good job. And that's coming back to you on that same vibrational frequency that you put out. And it's coming back to you in a different way, but it's the same vibration. It's the same frequency that you've sent out and then are now calling back in. So in that kind of circumstance, you wouldn't connect the dots necessarily, because we're not keeping score, but that's how the universe works. If we're keeping score, then it's reciprocity. If we're not keeping score, then it's a spiritual experience, a spiritual law. So that's called abundance and prosperity, right? So seldom are people that you help the same people that help you back when you're in a time of need. Seldom. Sometimes it does. Sometimes people are like, I really want to help that person. They helped me so much when I was in a time of need. I mean, that happens. But usually it comes back in a very different form. A good example is a good friend of mine. Her grandson was quite ill as a newborn and had to be admitted to Dornbeckers. And when he got home and everything had settled, baby was fine, she had such a need to give back because she was so grateful. Her heart was just so swollen with gratitude that she called it, I have a burden to give. And it became a heavy weight in her heart to give back in some way. So what she wanted to do was, she's a massage therapist. She wanted to give massages to the nurses in the NICU as a way of giving back, but it could never be arranged for whatever reason. So she says, Madge, I still have this burden to give. And it was causing her heartache. It was causing her physical pain. Isn't that amazing? That need to give. So what she did is she started giving my late husband Joe weekly massages for free. And she did that for a couple years as her way of giving back to somebody that was in need, that she could, give to and relieve the burden in her heart. Isn't that beautiful? So it works that way. I mean, that's how the universe works, is in that kind of comes in here and it goes out there, and things level out in a way sometimes we don't even get an opportunity to recognize. Wayne Baker writes in a book called Achieving Success Through Social Capital. He sees reciprocity as building social capital. He says the deliberate pursuit of reciprocity fails, just like the pursuit of happiness. If we set out to find happiness, I'm going to go do this because it will make me happy, or I'm going to do this and because I'm seeking happiness, that isn't going to work. Our happiness comes from our being. We just are happy. We just behave in a happy way. It's very difficult to obtain happiness if we're not being happy. Know the difference? It's an inside job. Happiness is an inside job. Yeah, it might be momentary. You might be doing something momentarily and that makes me happy. And then it's done. And are you still happy? No, the event ended. Now I'm not happy. So happiness is a state of being. So gratitude falls in that same or abundance and prosperity kind of fall in that same category. Are we seeking it, or are we being it in our behavior, in our giving, in our actions and deeds to others? And that's the way of being abundant and prosperous. To live in reciprocity is to live by cause and effect. I cause this for you, and the effect is back for me. And we get along quite well with this principle. It works in commerce, in bartering, and so in our social standards. But to live by causing an effect is the spiritual law. That's where we really get our power. That's the powerful, is to cause an effect, to have a positive effect on something without trying to get something back out of it, so to speak. And so we just see it as a transmission of energy. If we can just see that as a transmission of energy, we're transmitting it from one person to the other. We saw it in their demonstration with the money, and with my friend who was the massage therapist. She received this, her grandson received this great care, saved his life. And that was a transmission of energy, gratitude. And then she gave the energy to Joe later down the road. And it was just this transmission. And then, and it kept moving around from person to person, and it all levels out. So both the money of our players and my friend's burden to give just keeps on going as that transmission of energy from one person to the next, until there's this fair balance that everybody's needs are met. And we have to have faith and trust that that balance occurs in our life. As long as we're vibrating in that frequency, in our thoughts, in our mind, in our deeds, in our actions of what we really want to attract back to us. So it's really important that we do that. So because in the universe, there is always enough for everyone. We need to remember that. All right, let's go into a little meditation here. Take a nice deep breath. I want us to just feel the oneness with the universe for a few moments. Feel our energies expanding as the universe expands. Just that oneness with infinity. Knowing that everything in this infinite space has everything that we need. It has everything that will support us. And think of something that you need, or something that you really want, or something that you really desire. And see it in your mind's eye. See it as if it's a physical object, see it in its detail. If it's a feeling that you desire, feel the feeling in all of your neural nets and all of your neurons. And make that more real to you than sitting in the chair right now. Let that be more real in your mind, and feel the feelings of it, or see the object and see it as more real than the reality of that we're in right now. And feel the emotions that surround it, the good, positive emotions. What will you be doing with that? Or what would you be doing when that happens? And feel those feelings as your attractant. That's the magnetic pull, is in the feelings. And now that we formulated it and we felt it, now let it go. Just let it go out into the cosmos. Let it go into the infinity. Let it go into the world of all possibilities. Because we trust and we have faith, knowing that in our tomorrows, that will come back to us in a vibrational form of what we sent out. In some form or another, it might not be material, it might not be monetary, but it will come back to us in the form in which we released it into the universe. And now our job is to not worry about it, not think about it, and just let it be. And move on to our state of happiness. And in that state of happiness, let us drop into our heart and just allow happiness to fill that space. The joy for life, the happiness for being here, for being with each other, for being in this beautiful community. And let the happiness be the loudest voice in our heart as we are just being happy because we are. And let this feeling permeate our soul, permeate all the layers of our being, and let it be what we carry with us for this week, sharing it with others, spreading it as good news because it is contagious. And we just let that be how we are in our tomorrows. And let it be so. Amen. All right. You guys back with me? All right. Love seeing the smiles. Keep that state of happiness going. It's important. All right. So we're going to have Dick. Oh, no, we're going to do the offering first. That's right. Handed off my little agenda thing. All right. We're going to do the offering to the home center. Those of you out in the world out there, homecenter.me.
PayPal.
Oh, PayPal. There we go. I got to get a little cheat thing up here. I'm in another state when I come out of meditation. It's like, I got to think concrete again. How do I do that? All right. Yes. PayPal, home center, paypal.me/home center Salem. It's on the screen. I don't even need to tell them. I'll tell you folks in case. Okay. That's great. All right. Appreciate all the donations. So thank you as we bless this donation. And we are so grateful to receive it, knowing that you have blessed this and it's coming through the home center with your blessings and coming back to you multiplied 100 times all of your wants, needs, and desires that are for your highest and your greatest good. And we're so grateful. Amen. All right. So that basket's going around. Yeah. All right. We are into August already as of tomorrow. No, 31st as of Tuesday. Wow. Doesn't it feel like fall?
It's going fast. You don't have to rush.
I know. I had somebody yesterday saying, my gosh, stuff is either their plants are either ahead or behind. It's so interesting. Nothing seems to be in the time that we're used to having it. So yeah, we're in interesting times, that's for sure. All righty. So we have an Akashic Record workshop on the 8th of August. Carol's going to be doing another one of those. I went to the first one she did, and it was really good. She guides you through a meditation that where you drop into a past life that is, well, you formulate your question. What's the situation I'm dealing with? And then through the meditation, your intention is to drop into a past life that's affecting that or causing that or having an impact on it. And then you kind of look at it and as an observer, not falling into the emotion of it. And then come into resolution or solution for that. It was really powerful. I really liked it. And that's on the 8th of August at 6:30. So it's a Tuesday night. Yeah. So if you got something you're working through, it's definitely an opportunity to look at it in a different way. And then on the 11th is Reiki Share. The 12th is Drum Circle at 1. And then we have a new thing, a singing circle at 6:30 on the 12th of August. So just come and sing. Tatiana and Tasha are leading this. It's gonna lead into other things. We've got some plans with it, but that's going to be a start. Really? Yes. Oh yeah, I was supposed to do the announcements afterwards. Oh, man, I am zoned out. You know, we were talking about Lionsgate right now. So Lionsgate is pretty strong, and it's kind of messing with time. I'm feeling the little confusion, like something stirring something that has two colors in it and kind of swirling it around. And time is messing me up.
One of the things that I read in an article about the horoscope for July was that the 25th was like a whole universe reset for us. And the 8th of August is supposed to be when the Lionsgate opens.
Right, but it's the time before and the time after.
Yeah.
So I hope this is meaningful to you folks out on Facebook and
The 25th is the Mayan day out of time.
Oh, no wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Mayan day out of time. So anyway, all right. So I'm going to stop there on announcements because the calendar is out over there. I'm going to invite Dick up to give a closing prayer, and then we'll have time for some metaphysical moments.
Am I hot again? All right, here we go. Before the closing prayer, however, I have a little story to tell you. It's from the book Pray a Word a Day. It's called Wonder. I haven't seen any seas part so an entire nation can walk through on dry ground, or witnessed water changing into costly wine, or watched a man born lame receive God's power to dance and leap. All those things, those miracles, though, they're in the Bible. Ah, but the little miracles I behold every day assure me of a God of love and wonders. I've seen fireflies that blink and wink in the summer nights. I've seen hummingbirds buzz inches from my face on the way to a beautiful red flower. I've seen chipmunks scurry up and down a tree trunk like it wasn't even there. Roses that willingly share their spicy, sweet perfumes. And orioles, bluebirds, and goldfinches in a panorama of color at the bird feeders hanging from people's eaves. Mother Nature smiling? Maybe. Or Creator showing his children how much he cares for them? Maybe yes. And now our closing prayer. God, you are creativity personified. Thank you for the amazing things you provide many of us to wonder about. Right. Reset. God, you are a creative personality. Thank you for amazing us with your many wonders. We know that the touch of God's energy and emotion, is but a heartbeat away. Miracles will happen when you have faith and trust that the miracles can really happen. Are you ready to unleash your belief in yourself? Open your heart to both give and receive the love and light of the universe. Receive your love and light as your universal supply, and all your affairs will miraculously heal. Allow the healing power that is God's love to penetrate the shields of your enemy. Readily accept the healing power of this action. Love your enemy. God is limitless and abundant, and supply is made manifest. Feel its outpouring of love in your body and mind. Feel God's emotion in your life, in your affairs, and know God is, I am, we are one. In God and Christ, love and light, I pray. Amen. And to the Facebook world and YouTube world, this is the Home Spiritual Center signing off.